Said, all right, everyone, are we ready to start the meeting? It's February 25th, the Blue Lake City Council second meeting or normal meeting. Everyone go ahead and stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. City Manager Mager, would you form a quorum?
Mayor Sawatsky,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Scapani, here. Councilmember Fire, Councilmember Napier, here. Councilmember Louis Lusso, here.
All right. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda? Yes, go ahead.
Before doing so, Mr. Mayor, I have a request that two items be pulled from tonight's agenda. The first is item 8, consider amendment to city manager employment agreement. There's still some further work that needs to be done on the form of the amendment, so I'd request that be continued to a future meeting. The second is one of our closed session items, 12B, real property negotiations with Erin McClure as trustee. She and I are meeting next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and we're going to better refine and clarify some of the outstanding items before coming to council for input and direction. So those are the two requests that I'd ask be pulled and continued to a future meeting.
Thank you. How does the council feel about those amendments? Second.
Okay, second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor of the amended agenda, say aye.
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 Um, does the public have any input on this? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I guess
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Um, item number 2 is adopt previous council meeting minutes.
I have a couple of adjustments to the minutes, if I may. Page 2, down toward the end, public comment closed. Just below that, I believe there was a motion that I'm not seeing to appoint Gloria Baker, because then the motion is seconded, but I don't see a first motion placed, unless I'm missing it.
So the motion happened further up under 5. Councilmember Fire motion to appoint the commissioners that have applied.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember this was kind of tricky. There were
Right.
motions and then some died and
Right.
let's see. Maybe let's see. Yeah, I'm missing.
And I did not
I'm
watch the
missing.
video.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Maybe we'd like to just bring this back to our next meeting.
I just have one more adjustment. I'm sure it was made. On page 4, down toward the bottom, there's a motion to provide immediate relief through a temp agency and allow the city manager to recruit. There was a motion, and then there are discussions, and I guess it's just a technical thing that we need the motion to die before the next motion is put in.
Are you at the bottom of page 4 where it says motion dies for lack of a second? Or after that?
Oh, it's after that.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. So we should motion dies for lack of second, and then there was a new motion.
And unless we move, yeah, I think that was a different motion came in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot of motions and no seconds, and then remotion.
There was a lot.
Okay.
That was all. I had.
I'll go back and fix those, and I'll bring these back with the next sets of meeting minutes.
Thank you.
Any other changes from council on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open up the public to comment on the meeting minutes. Yes, Adeline, go ahead.
The only thing, and I talked to manager Nate about this, is I would like the first and last name of all the council persons, because in the future, if you just have Mayor Sawatsky, there are several Sawatskis that could be, and I had that problem with my last name as well. So I just recommended that there always be a first and last name in the
Great, thank you for the input. Anyone else from the public like to make comment on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council for, actually, let's check on Zoom. Anyone on Zoom? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council for final approval of the meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the second council minutes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
So you guys just passed the minutes with me making the corrections?
Yes.
Correct,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
apologies. All right, on to reports of council and staff. First item is city manager report.
So I am not prepared to give a full report tonight. We've just got a lot of projects that we've all been working on. So if you have any questions about specific projects, I'm happy to answer. We did develop a public works report tonight, and Chris, I believe, is here to provide that. But yeah, we've just got a lot of projects that we've been working on with you guys and lots of meetings and minutes, and I did not prepare a report this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions about anything specific.
Great, thank you very much. So that was item A. Does the public have any comment on the manager report? Go ahead and move on from that if we don't.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Just wondering if you could give us an update on the situation with the food service facilities at Prash Hall in the park.
Absolutely. So as you know, we have shut down the doghouse. We had a full prep kitchen permit for that facility through 2023. Through the course of inspections, the facility operator made some changes in response to inspections that were made, and through the course of those inspections, we did not receive an updated permit. And so we are working through that process right now and have resolved any issues. It was really unfortunate. I think we all got caught up kind of in some confusion. The facility was permitted to the city as a full prep kitchen, and we worked with environmental health originally to um, design that kitchen and get it all ready for operation. And then when Darcy began her operations through the doghouse, she was inspected, but the operator is the one who is supposed to hold the operating permit, not the facility. So through the course of her running through that permit, it didn't get flagged that they needed to send an update to the doghouse. And so it got a little bit confused in translation, and it wasn't something that was really on our radar as well. So we had to have environmental health come back out, look at the facility. They did ask us to make a change to the plumbing to do an air gap, which we've done. And Darcy is working with them on her menu. There were a couple items that they wanted her to clarify how she was preparing foods. So that's all been done. She's working with the health inspector to get her permit, and she should be open, we hope, in like a week or so. The permit for the snack bar at the skating rink, that also is in the process. We can do retail sales without a permit for food prep, so we can sell candy bars and chips and things. But once we start going further into like heat and serve type items, then we have to get a limited prep permit. So we've applied for both a limited prep and a believe it's a minimal prep kitchen as well. And so Emily is working with the health department to get those permits in place, and we should have those this week as well.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or any other questions from council?
I had I spoken with I think it's the fellow at Environmental Health, and what's his last name?
Ben?
Ben, thank you. That's the fella. And I think it sounded a little bit different to me, the information that was provided as far as how it tracked with requests for permits and notifications. I think they have a very solid system on how they send out notifications
Hmm.
for permits, and then if they're about to expire and such. And, requesting for plans before construction began on these developments. So I'd seen a lot of communication on their side as well.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping that's something that in the future we might be able to develop something in house that we can track it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the permit for the facility really wasn't on our radar because it was being operated by a concessionaire under an agreement. So it really wasn't something we were tracking, and now we know to be better about that as well. Like I said, we did permit the facility as a full prep facility with environmental health originally before it went into operation because we did a full remodel on that from basically a snack bar storage area over to a kitchen. So that was quite a process to get through that. And so we did have that operating permit up till 2023.
I'd like to see a copy of that permit.
Sure.
Just out of date. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Anyone from the public wish to comment on this? Yes, go ahead.
For starters, I wish to apologize that we're not having this meeting as per the mayor's direction in another facility. You're all standing here. I also had communication with Ben Dolph. The thing that's outstanding, according to the email I got from Ben, was not an air gap, but the range hood needs to have an inspection, and that could not be done because it takes a while to get an appointment. So that's the clarification I got directly from Mr. Ben Dolph with the DHHS Environmental Health. The other concern that had been mentioned to me before, which wasn't brought up as far as answering the question when asked by Council Member Asfani of City Manager Amanda Mager regarding the facilities down there, and I've been informed that the actual kitchen that we put in, which is the main kitchen there, which is supposed to be available for people to rent or use to do prep, is not up to standard also, and that the range hood is not sufficient for that one. But I can be corrected on that if I'm not correct. That to me is a great troublesome thing because we have grant money and we're supposed to have a kitchen down there. And if that was done, then we need to correct that also. That may take a while. It may have a significant expense. Range hoods with Anson on them can frequently be $15,000 for a range hood. So I will check back with Mr. Dolphin. I'm sure your staff will also take the opportunity to speak.
City Manager Mager, do you wish to respond to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So originally, when we designed the kitchen, we actually designed it with an Ansel system. And when we got our bids back, the Ansel system was almost $90,000, which was well beyond our budget to be able to do. So we scaled down the project to put in a commercial hood. We had it spec'd out by our building official to meet all of the health codes and put a smaller commercial range in as well. The idea also is that we are restricting the type of foods that can be prepared in that kitchen to be in compliance with the hood specifications. So we knew that we would not be able to do things like frying foods or anything like that, which we don't want to do anyways because it goes into our wastewater system. And even though we have a grease interceptor in the kitchen, we had concerns about our wastewater system going through the park because of uh, the flow going out to the street. So we have been working with environmental health through several grant programs to upgrade the kitchen as best we can with the resources that we have. We've got a beautiful kitchen. Everything is commercial. And we're now working with the health department to see at what level we can have that facility permitted. It can be permitted for limited prep, probably caterer style kitchen. But eventually, as resources come in, we'll be able to make additional improvements, hopefully to get it to a point where it can be a full prep with limited menu items. So the facility has gone through an enormous transformation, all with grant funding. But like I said, with the cost of construction and the cost to put in those types of systems, it was well beyond our resources. So we've been somewhat piecing the kitchen together as we have the resources, but we're really close to being able to have that as a commercial kitchen.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll move up to Zoom. Go ahead, Julie.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you can hear me good tonight. Julie Christie. I really appreciate all that dialogue about the permits. That was way more constructive than the one at the economic. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry, I just got on my lambs and I'm a little winded. I wanted to go back to a grant that we were applying for with the prior council. It was going to be for water metering and in a way that it was going to be electronic water metering. Just curious if we were successful in that grant or if we're going to be moving forward with that. Thank you.
Informed that we were eligible for some grant funding through the state because we had been flagged as a high cost city for water and well, actually, it was just water. So we worked with a state agency, and off the top of my head now, I can't remember which agency it was to apply for electronic water meters. And we were really excited about the project and wrote the full application and went through the process. And then we received notice from the agency that they had made a mistake when they reviewed our um, so they had made a mistake when they reviewed our rate structure and they didn't realize that our rate structure included water and wastewater. They thought our water rates were high because they were seeing our wastewater rates as well. So we were disqualified from the program, but we have been seeking other resources and it is on our capital improvement plan to install remote metering. It's will be a great upgrade for the city. It's a great way to conserve water, to catch leaks early. It cuts down on staff time, and we have a lot of aging meters in the city, anyways. And so our goal really is to look at this coming spring, summer, going into next fall to find the resources to be able to make those installations. It's probably $250 to $300,000 to do that project. But as we start looking at having to make these replacements, it's a good investment and will pay itself back fairly shortly. So that is high on our list to do. It was unfortunate. We were really excited that we qualified for the grant, but unfortunately, it was a mistake on the granting agency's determination.
Great, thank you. Last call for comment. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council. Any final comments?
No.
All right, we'll move on to item 3B, which is Public Works Staff Report. Chris, are you there? Great.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
Do you want me to read this whole thing out? I know you guys all got a copy.
We did maybe for the public. I mean, give us a brief summary. That's fine, I think.
All right. As everybody knows here in the public, we've had quite a bit of rain in the last few months, and we had some flooding and some blockages. Our public works employees did a great job going in and hand removing quite a few of those. And also, we got some permission from landowners to go in and use some equipment on their side to remove some stuff during flooding events to keep their property and our levees safe. There was a few spots like Hatchery Road, which is historic for flooding. We got one of those main culverts opened up, and it seems like it's been running really well. We had some wind damage, of course, along the trails. Our what do you call it? Along Taylor Way, cleared up the museum strip. and we had to remove and or prune back some of that stuff. Um, and a lighter side of it, we entered an agreement with Karuna Rescue up off of Neeland, and we have four new residents out at the wastewater plant who are helping me mow the grass. They're doing a great job. They're my favorite employees. um, project planning right now, we're doing. Mandy mentioned some upgrades to monitoring, and we're also doing the same thing with our wastewater side. Try to reduce the impact of cost and employee involvement in uh, physical involvement in the monitoring and making it more up to date 21st century so we can have remote monitoring of all our systems and be able to respond better to our alarms.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions from council on this item? Any questions from the public on this item? Yes, go ahead, Lynn.
Oh, thank you.
Comment, I live next to the creek, watch it pretty close. And I cannot break up the quick was flowing that storm, so I want to commend the works.
Yeah. Yeah. Skylar and Mike did most of the work. They went in there, and since we are regulated with a lot of things and what we can do within the creek bed, it was a lot of handwork that they did. And both those guys did all the work.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great. Yes, I can't see you, but go ahead. Stand up and.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They got rainy, they would come and empty that out. And it really made a difference because it's completely flooded.
Oh yeah, we have our DI rounds that we call it, which are drain inlets, and every time there's a big rain event, Russo's right there. There's a big flow right there. We go. There's a bar screen at his place that we go clean out, and then any of the other known suspects, our guys go and clean up and try to do. Yeah, and even before, you'll see them out there digging leaves and litter out of the DIs if we think there's going to be a big rain event coming around.
We'll just wait till we bring it back. Thank you. Anyone else in the public?
I have a problem.
Sure.
That this meeting should be postponed for a number of reasons. Mainly that we got people standing outside here trying to go through the windows. And these fences don't believe that that there's adequate space for the meeting to actually take place in a realistic way. As well as the fact that it's not properly noticed, like I can see, I don't know if you post your notices, but I don't believe that this was posted properly. The post office doesn't have a notice posted because it's easy for them. I don't know where else to post it, but just having it on the website is not right.
Do you mind bringing that forward to public comment, and then we can go ahead and address that then? I apologize. Just raise your hand, and we'll bring your item back up. Thank you very much. Julie Christie, we have a couple comments or questions for you, Chris. Looks like Julie Christie, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry you guys, I totally spaced putting mute on. I'm so sorry. Chris and council, thank you so much. I know this wasn't like a formal decision to put on Public's work report, but it's something I always thought would be a really unique, cool thing for us to do. And so I'm just saying thank you, and I'd like to see them continue. I really support them. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Linda Cooley, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Chris during the last big rain after we had flooding this last year. I saw him down there on a Sunday, making sure that we were safe on Taylor Way. I greatly appreciate it. Last year was a little bit scary. So thank you to all the city employees who are out there making sure we were okay.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I can't read. I see Humboldt something. I can't read the rest of your name. I think it's D.O.
Didi Orlandi. This might be a little out of order, but is there a mic for people that are asking questions there? Because we can't hear, I can't hear them at all over Zoom.
I'll make sure to have them come up. I appreciate the input. For the rest of the meeting, we'll have them come forward and speak into the microphone. I apologize. Or yeah, Chris, would you pass the mic?
I can throw.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the public before we bring it back to council?
I'd like to say one more thing.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And the last thing, always please, if you guys are interested, please come down and take a tour of our plant. The other thing I forgot to bring up was we did our biennial, which we've been upgraded the past few years from annual to every 2 years for our testing, and we are still within limits and are testing historically low on that for our groundwater intrusion out there at the wastewater plant. So if anybody has any questions, comments, come visit. It would be great.
Great, thank you. Last comments from council, yes.
Yeah, I um, for all the things that we hear people would like to have addressed here within Blue Lake, I've not once heard anybody say, I don't like the water or I'm not getting any water. So I think you guys are really, seems like you're doing a great job with the water and sewage. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think this kind of falls under the stormwater runoff. And I know that previously we had a resident from Broderick expressing that they're getting a lot of discharge off of Crash Hall, that those drains are actually draining into the yard. And I'm wondering if that is on your docket to examine and possibly reroute that drainage.
I know it is, and I can let Mandy elaborate on that if she wants to.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was doing Zoom things. Can you repeat that question?
Certainly, yes.
Crash Hall runoff.
Oh, yeah. So Prash Hall, we got bids for, as you guys know, we have a new roof on Prash Hall. The next phase of that was getting new gutters. So we finally got our 3 quotes for the gutters, and I believe we're in the queue for this spring to get gutters installed. So
Okay. Are there any active plans for mitigation in the meantime, given this resident has lodged numerous requests for assistance on this?
I don't believe there's any real option to do much more than what is there right now. We're really limited because we share a very, very tight property line that doesn't allow us a lot of room to be able to get in and do much. Her fence line is like literally right up against the building almost. So the overhang is kind of just the nature of how that facility was built back in the day. And I'm not sure who's I mean, I think Prash was probably there first, so I'm not really sure how the other property was developed with that, large of an overhang right on that fence line. Chris, you've probably been back there to see. I mean, we've cleared out all the berry
I
briars.
cannot walk down there. I have to turn sideways. That's how close the fence is to Prash Hall. So we are mitigating that, and that's just what we can do at the moment. There has been a lot of work done there, but there's no room to put in like a
French drain or
deferment or drain, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all in plans right now. But we have to have gutters first before any of that goes in.
Well, it seems that this resident has been bearing the burden for this discharge for some time, and I hope that rather than saying we just can't fit back there, if we can at least bring it back to reconsideration on ways that we can redirect at least some of that water. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Any other questions for Chris? All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Bye, everybody.
All right, we're moving on to item number 4. This is public comment, and this is the time to go ahead and bring forward anything that is not on the agenda. The public. Oh, apologies. Do we have any council reports?
I went to the Humboldt Waste Management Authority. I'm not going to take the time today to report out completely, but I would like to say I really appreciated the work of Eric Keller Heckman and his team there at the Humboldt Waste Management Authority. And I would enjoy Eric coming to a meeting and doing a presentation for us in the future. But yay, Humboldt Waste Management Authority. That's all I need to say.
Kat, do you have anything to report out?
Yes, Humboldt County Association of Governments. And as you know, they deal a lot with our transportation here in Humboldt County. They work really well together, the different townships, and looking at the monies available to make repairs to our roads and to address transport needs. And one of the things that they're expressing, and this won't come as a surprise, but a level of anxiety about how much funding there might be in the future at a state and federal level for these. So we can expect to maybe make some adjustments in what our expectations are and being able to address some road repairs in the future. And I think that they're trying to get ahead of this as quickly as they can. The second meeting just last night with the Redwood Regional Economic Development Commission, and really nice group of folks there as well. And we had a presentation from the Union Hall regarding project labor agreements. And this is we do have a Union Hall. There's the local 751, the Carpenters, which I've actually have done presentations and development for their pre-apprenticeship programs. And what the project labor agreements allows us to do is to put a percentage of labor that we expect that would be involved in this project. And it can be apprentices, it can be union individuals. And what it does is rather than these projects taking the monies, bringing in people from outside the area, we could say, for instance, within the terms of a contract, say we would like to have 25% of the people to be local through the union halls. And while we might be concerned that that adds to the expense, because if we think union wages, we might think $50 an hour. Out of that, half of that is for health care, for other fees, just as any other organization pays for their individuals. It's just folded into the hourly rate. So I think that we have some opportunities ahead, and I hope the council may be able to look further into the concept having project labor agreements, because it helps keep those dollars local. And I think Mike Wilson also could speak to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other reports out from staff?
I went to an RCEA meeting, but I'm going to hold my report till the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
No report today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, does the public wish to comment on our reporting?
Did I miss your general public comment?
No, you have not. We've moved things around a little bit.
Good.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
Just for council, so I reordered the agenda tonight to be compliant with the municipal code. So after this meeting, you guys can give us some feedback. That's one of the things that we can address through the update of the manual and eventually the code, but how this format works. But this is the order that's directed in the code. That's why it's a little clunky tonight.
Thank you very much. Julie Christie, go ahead on Zoom.
I'm going to chime in on Kat's report. Kat, I just want to say I'm really proud to have you at HCOG. There's going to be a lot going on there. Your reports have been very thorough, and I appreciate that. And please keep us informed on especially Measure O expenditures headed your guys this way. And that the format's very uniform for other municipalities, so we'll get used to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead. iPhone.
Hi, yeah, my name is Anthony, and I just wanted to readdress something someone had mentioned earlier. It's kind of sounds like it's not ideal to have a lot of people who are standing outside wanting to be a part of the meeting, and I just want to politely suggest that it is a good idea to postpone anything that a lot of people would want to participate. And as it's the Brown Act would be a good reason to do that. It says that if capacity is an issue, finding a larger venue is a good idea to accommodate the anticipated attendance. And I just also want to say that it sounds like there's a lot of good people over there, and I appreciate Blue Lake and everybody in it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to let you know that I did attempt to make extra room. Thank you. Sure. Great. Just want to let everyone know, Elise told me to go ahead and read the entire public comment. That's what the note said on it. I apologize for that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the city council that is relevant to the scope and authority of the city of Blue Lake that is not on the agenda. The council may provide up to 15 minutes for the public input session. To assure that each individual presentation is heard, the council may uniformly impose time limitations of 3 minutes to each individual presentation. The public will be given the opportunity to address items that are on the agenda at the time the council takes up each specific agenda item. So again, if the item is already on the agenda, hold on until we get to that item. Miss. So we're now in public comment. Scott, there was one gentleman in front of you, if you don't mind if he goes first.
Not at all.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So obviously we don't have an adequate meeting place. It's just people are standing outside in the cold trying to listen through the window. This is from the California Public Meetings Act, and it states that notice requirements for a meeting like this requires that the proper notice be of all regular meetings, including the time, date, location, and agenda, must be provided to the public at least 72 hours in advance of the meeting. Notice must be posted in a location that is freely accessible to the public and on the agency's official website if they have one. So obviously, posting it on the website is not adequate. It should be posted where they normally put postings, which does not happen this time. For some reason, there's nothing at the post office where you normally have all your little postings in the little cabinets. I checked this morning to see whether it had been moved, like you were suggesting, to Brash Hall, and there's nothing there that says anything about this meeting. So I think this meeting is illegal and should be postponed, not just out of the fact that it's illegal, but that it's inadequate for the people that want to participate.
May I make one comment?
Do
That's okay. So,
Out of order.
Lori, can you make your way up to the front? Will that be difficult for you?
Do you want to
Sorry.
pass the microphone?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Lori Ponte. I've been here before. I have something completely different to share. I've been working with Jennifer Kramer in the Grange on putting together potlucks. We had one in the park during the summer. We had one in November at the Grange. And after all the beautiful renovations that are going on, we have one planned for Saturday, March 29th. The whole community's invited. It's a potluck, so bring what you like, bring something to share. And I just wanted to kind of hit this meeting from a completely different perspective, something positive. We've had a lot of good people show up, and everyone's invited. So it'll be about 11 o'clock on Saturday, March 29th, and it'll be spring, we hope. Hopefully no rain. And we want people all ages, kids, and it was a really nice turnout in November. So spread the word. We will have stuff posted on Facebook, wherever we can post it in town. At the Grange, March 29th, 11 o'clock. And it'll go until we're all tired of each other and we want to go home. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Ryan, quick question for you. Point of order. Do we need to cancel the meeting because there's people outside, or I just want to make sure that we're good on that?
No, the capacity is what it is. And so that
Oh, my Lord.
there's no obligation to expand to a larger facility when capacity is exceeded. We do provide the Zoom option and the ability to participate through Zoom for that reason.
Great. Thank you very much for the point of clarification. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I can just confirm. I confirm with the city manager that it was posted in 3 different locations, 72 hours in advance, in a freely accessible location, plus on the website. So I have no concerns there.
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please go ahead and
Sure.
answer that, and then
So
we'll
it was
continue.
posted at City Hall. It's posted at the bulletin board outside of the post office because part of our problem right now is the post office is locking down. So when we go to do our posting, we can't get in. It's posted at the Grange. And then, did I say the city's website as well? Okay. So I posted it Friday nights, and it's usually after 5 by the time I get the full packet all completed and all the agendas printed and everything. So we haven't been able to get in before they've been able to close or lock it down. So it's always posted on the bulletin board outside the post office as well. And like I said, our normal postings are City Hall, the Grange, out by the post office, and on the website.
Thank you very much. Scott, you were next, I believe.
Sir, Mayor, members of the council, as you all noticed, we have an overflow capacity crowd tonight. And Mayor, thanks for attempting to find a bigger venue. That would have been great. My comment is you obviously have a lot of interest in some of your agenda items and some coming up that are listed as action items. And I would encourage you not to take any irrevocable actions tonight with the overcapacity crowd and the difficulty of getting in and out of the door, because my hearing's not as good as some people's, particularly outside. And I think it's great that you have this much interest. And I might stick around long enough to make specific comments on your later agenda item, but I might not. So I'm really concerned that the facility isn't really accommodating the interest you have in the agenda. Thank you.
Just want to let you know 2 of our items have been canceled. Item 8, consideration amendment to city manager position, and also a closed session item. Yes, go ahead.
If you're referring to me, I just wanted to add that one good reason would be to postpone the meeting is fire and safety codes. If you're over capacity, then it's just not right. It's important to find a building that can, allow everybody to participate in an important decision for Blue Lake.
Thank you very much.
To that last speaker, I've objected to the posting they have. They say we're supposed to have 147 people in this room. There's no way we could. So again, repeatedly, I brought this to our attention of your building inspector, who said the fire marshal said we can get 147 people in here, standing on each other's shoulders, apparently. I did wish to make comment on an item that has been removed from the agenda, so therefore I am appropriate for me to make comments on it since it's been removed. I wanted to apologize to Erin Beth McClure regarding her tank site up there that the city's trying to negotiate. One of the biggest roadblocks, in my opinion, is the lack of ability of the city to secure the site. She's had pictures of one person up there, I think 18 times in the last month, a whole bunch of other people up there. Her concern is, and I can totally understand it, not wanting to have the tank there, the city cannot have a site where people feel like going there. So if the citizens of Blue Lake are wandering on someone else's property to go up there trespassing illegally, you are causing a very large chance that you will not have access to have a water tank up there, because I wouldn't do it. When she's told by city staff, well, it's up to the sheriff to enforce. Well, if you have a system where you have cameras, those are set up so you can see somebody up there and you can call the sheriff. But until such time the city does this, I would strongly suggest to Erin that she not even consider an option as far as the city being able to use that site. So for those of us who own property, we strongly have objections if people feel they can tromp around on our property. It's liability for us. If someone gets hurt there, we may get sued. It's not their business to be there. And unless you have permission to be on someone else's property anywhere, I highly recommend you stay on civic property and do not trespass, because you can have major consequences on the desires of people to work with the city, myself included.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Yes, go ahead.
I'm Carrie Bayless, and when we went on our field trip up to the airport, I came home and got this emergency response guide from Tesla. The reason I chose it is because we looked at those type of batteries up in at the airport. And when we had our meeting on Sunday, I believe that the people from Power Transitions and the other company that spoke were both not necessarily forthcoming with the
Point of order.
community.
This
It was
this
said by Tetra Tech that they would be using
this
this
is an
as-
agenda item. I'm really sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's about our town hall. Right. It's about our town.
I mean, go ahead. I mean, go ahead and finish up. I apologize. I'm not trying to interrupt you. We just do have an agenda item for this. So this is
Well,
public.
town hall.
I mean, go ahead and continue. Let's just finish it up. But
Okay.
next time, let's go ahead and have it with the agenda item.
Using lithium iron phosphate solid state batteries so that no liquid electrolyte would go into the community. There are not solid state batteries. They are still in the labs being worked on. So that was not a true statement. It was also said that you could shut them down. In this manual, it says that you cannot shut off the power to the product because it does not de-energize the battery and it remains a shock hazard. So that would not be a truthful statement. Jeff from the Power Transition said that the batteries could be immersed in water. Nothing would happen. This manual, it says, warning, in case of flood, stay out of the water. If any part of this product or its wiring is submerged, that you would need to stay out of the water. It also says the storage area must be protected from flooding. And the other thing that it says is that these products contain lithium ion batteries and they are a source of energy. Do not short circuit, puncture, incinerate, crush, immerse, or exposed to high temperatures. If you do, they can have internal or external short circuit, and that can cause significant overheating and thermal runaway. The other thing that they said is if they catch on fire, you let it burn and it doesn't affect the surrounding containers. This says that you must position the attack lines to protect the neighboring
Point of
battery.
order, please. Point of order, Mayor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this really is the agenda item. I apologize. If you want to go ahead and forward this item to me, I'd love to have all this information in my email, and I'll go ahead and review it. And then if you want to go ahead and present during the actual agenda item, that'd be fine as well. Thank you very much. Any other non-agenda items from the public? Seeing none from the public, we'll go ahead and bring it up to Zoom. Go ahead, Julie Christie.
Thank you, John. Are you guys able to hear me okay tonight? For the best part. So many amazing comments prior to mine. It does warm my heart to know there's so many people coming out and speaking up. We know our venue is pretty tight for real attendance. I do have a suggestion that perhaps we could work something out with the school gymnasium. The seating's very easy. They have the PA, they have Wi-Fi. Parking's not the best, but it really would accommodate big numbers a little bit better than the other venues, such as Crash, the Grange, and the Fire Hall, just as a suggestion. I really want to thank Lori for bringing up the potluck and all the work at the Grange. That's going to be something that I inspire the rest of our community starts getting to really know each other outside of, meetings and other discussions online. Thank you, Kent, for bringing up the fact that item 8, it was pulled from the agenda. We can discuss it. I was going to request that it would be as well. There was no packet material. We should have had a recommendation and something in there that we could have wrote in prior in regards to. And also with our prior speaker in town hall, I will make comments on that, but in a different manner. I just want to thank everybody for showing up. I was delivering piggies. I have another pig in labor right now. So I just really appreciate our community that shows up for everybody. I did feel like the vibe there though from the presenter, from me being from the outside looking in, did seem really condescending and negative. And it just kind of reminds me of last town halls that we've had. And I really inspired that we have some that can finally be in positive dialogue with the fact that we're not being told what's going to happen in a condescending way, like we're little children. We're not little children, and we all have valid points, and all should be respected to gain respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Andrew, go ahead. All right. Oh, there it goes.
There we go.
Yeah, I think we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me
Go
now?
ahead and try. Yeah, I think so.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to comment tonight. I wanted to remark on a couple of points now. And the first is that you've obviously have a venue that's incapable of accommodating the number of people, and your council has attempted to make an excuse for that. And I would just say that it's laughable because the folks outside can't hear what's going on, and that is an essential part of a public meeting. So it doesn't really matter if they could log into Zoom, or if some other avenue is appointed to them. They showed up at the venue and they can't hear the proceedings, right? So they can't hear the mayor, for example, denigrate a public speaker. And I think that in and of itself is a reason to cancel this meeting right now. Secondly, and this is really disturbing, and it's, hopefully it's not a way of our democracy, but Mr. Mayor, you derided someone that was providing public comment not only once, not only twice, but 3 times while she was trying to make her statement. And it's fine that whatever her comments were pertinent to an agenda item. That was her time. It was not yours. And I just ask that you respect the remainder of the people that, are here tonight to make a comment, and you don't interrupt them. And please don't interrupt me. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and any more Andrew, you want to go ahead and mute? Apologies.
Yeah, that's on Aaron.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead. Oh, who would you go ahead and comment, and then if you make sure she gets the mic when you guys are done with that.
Okay, Sandra Mattingly, and maybe I'm old, but I can't hear you people. The only person I can hear is Mandy. So I guess I'm getting old. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll definitely work on that. I apologize.
Make the crowd quieter too would be nice as well.
We're working on getting hopefully some amplification systems in here at some point. Yeah, maybe. But all right. We have some more public that wish to comment. Yes, you go ahead.
My name is Jackie Ginn. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jackie.
That's good because I have exactly the same problem that all of you council members. I really can't hear very well. What I would suggest, politely suggest, is that you pretend you are speaking to a multitude without a microphone. Because as I understand it, this microphone is for the Zoom people. And if we can't hear you very well, I mean, I've been sitting here kind of leaning up, trying to hear. I don't think my hearing is that bad. But anyway, that's just what I would like to suggest. Project like you're on stage.
Thank you all. Thank you. I'll work on that. There was another comment in the back. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I just want to clarify that the mayor did not disparage or mock people outside. He worked and tried to get a facility that would be more accommodating to everybody, and he was denied. And everyone in this room and everyone outside of this building had the foresight that this was going to be the situation tonight. And the mayor did do his due diligence to try to lock down a facility that would be more accommodating. So that was a misunderstanding to the prior speaker. I just wanted to clarify.
Any other comments from the public? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next.
I have a question. Can somebody tell me how many people are outside? 10, 20?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So speaking for the people outside, we can hear better than you can in this room. And it's actually quite cool out there. So we're enjoying it out there. So thanks for worrying about us, but we're okay.
Thank you. We're going to keep on checking on you guys out there. All right. So we have no more public comment. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council for the consent agenda.
I would like to move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. All right. The next item is commission appointments. City Manager Megger, do you want to go ahead and fill us in on that?
All right. So you currently have 4 openings on the Public Safety Commission, 2 openings on Economic Development, 1 opening on the Parks and Recreation Commission, and 3 openings on the Arts and Heritage Commission. These have all been posted in accordance with the MADI Act, and you have received 5 applications for Public Safety Commission, 1 application for Parks and Rec Commission, 2 for Economic Development. For your Public Safety Commission, you currently have 1 commissioner. So you have 4 slots. You have 4 Blue Lake residents that have applied for that for the positions, and 1 within the sphere of influence. For the Parks and Recreation Commission, you have 1 applicant, James Brown. He is a current commissioner and is asking to re-up his commission. And on Economic Development, you have Roxanne Rothery and Darcy Lima, who are also current commissioners who are also asking to be considered for reappointment.
All right, council, we want to go ahead and begin our discussion.
I would like to note that for the Parks and Rec Commission and the Economic Development Commission and 1 of the 4 vacancies on the Public Safety Commission, we have not had our required 30 days of noticing for those positions. We have had 30 days at this time for the 3 vacancies on public safety, but not for those other vacancies. That posting was made on the website on I believe it was February 5th. And so we're 10 days shy of the required 30-day notice for those positions.
That was last time. So that is, so right now we would only be clear for 3 of the Public Safety Commission
Correct.
seats? Okay.
Correct.
Sorry, I was asking Elise if it is correct that we only have 3 of the Public Safety Commission seats that have already made their 30-day or more posting.
Any other comments from council?
I do wonder if any other applicants have come in today before Friday or between Friday and today that aren't included in the packet.
One came in late this afternoon for Economic Development, but it was I mean, the packets posted on Friday is closed.
Right, but there's not a closing window for the applicants that I've seen by way of ordinance.
No, but you can't bring that forward
Mhm.
today. So it wasn't part of the packet.
Okay, and there was just one for
Mhm.
one. Okay, thank you.
It the people reapplying for their positions, are they here tonight and we can quickly interview them? And
I saw Darcy. I saw Roxanne on Zoom. There's Roxanne. Rebecca Collins is here. Justin Goad is here. Adeline is here. I'm not.
we already
Ted
interviewed
Hales is
Ted.
here. I don't know if Donald is here. I can't tell. And I'm not sure if James is here or if he could be on Zoom.
Can anybody tell us if Donald Shang is in the room or outside? Looking for Donald Shang. He's one of the applicants to the Public Safety Commission. Not here. Okay, thank you.
I just want to check in with the council. Do we want to go ahead and postpone for the 30 days or do we want to push this through?
I would like to put some people on the Public Safety Commission.
Yeah, I think we could move forward with those three on the Public Safety Commission. I think that we're kind of bound to wait for the 30 days on the others, but at least we could fill those three.
Okay, great. Let's take care of that and then we'll move on to the others. Have we interviewed everyone for the Safety Commission? I know Adeline has not been interviewed yet. Is that correct? Is there anyone else who hasn't been interviewed?
And
Mandy?
Parks and Rec Commission has been noticed under the Maddie Act. That was a commission that was being vacated, a commission, an expiration. So that has been noticed since December
Okay.
that was coming up. So there should be no problem dealing with Parks and Recreation as well.
Okay, great. Adeline, would you go ahead and stand up and present?
Hello, all. I'll try to use my teacher's voice here. I am wanting to be on the Public Safety Committee. And the reason I want to be on that commission is, first of all, I'm very interested in our policing situation here in Blue Lake. Our contract with the sheriff expires June 30th of this year, and we may want to look at other options like contracting with another city, or we may want to continue with the sheriff. As many of you know, I was on the ad hoc committee last summer that negotiated with the sheriff, and we were able to get a $315,000 contract down to $190,000. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very interested in continuing with policing issues. Secondly, 245 Blue Lake citizens voted for me for city council. That's the same exact number as who voted for Catherine Napier. Only 5 less than John Sawatsky. The message here is 245 citizens of Blue Lake wanted me to continue as a leader in our city government. I feel this is a way of honoring that message from the voters of Blue Lake. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Did you want to ask me any questions?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Council, any questions for Adeline?
I understand why you want to be part of the Public Safety Commission. I just wanted to ask just a little bit deeper into that. What would you be bringing as far as a commissioner for this particular commission? I guess it's kind of a big commission, but very empty right now.
Yeah, it's very empty, and it's very necessary that we get these openings filled. I'm looking at my 12 years as mayor. I'm looking at my 20 years as the city council. I've dealt with a lot of policing issues. I dealt with some not very comfortable issues, and some old timers will realize what I'm talking about from the past. So I'm really focused on something that works for Blue Lake, that's good for Blue Lake, and I think I can make a difference on this commission and in a positive way.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, go ahead and open this up for public comment on just the Safety Commission. Yes, go ahead.
This is a very important commission. part of what we've perceived here is a safety commission item. I think fire also. Anyway, I'll wait just a second.
Just give us one moment here while we wait for this to clear. We want to make sure everyone can hear.
Okay. Safety.
City Manager Maker, do you need to go or anything? No.
Thank you. The Safety Commission is very important. Part of what this commission needs to work on are some desires of the public. I know a very important issue is safety on I Street. The local citizens did not want to have a roundabout there, but they did wish to have a four-way stop to slow traffic down. And that needs to be addressed and brought forward. That was a unanimous by the people and thing. We had a discussion regarding the two items. Nothing happened. Again, on I Street, it's been repeatedly pointed out that we have a very large redwood root underneath the road, which acts as a speed bump, and there's no signage there warning people of that. So I think we need people that are going to be on this commission that are willing to represent the people on these important topics and listen to the people who have their concerns. And that's one of the biggest criteria on any commission, is willing to listen to the people and then follow through with those concerns. That hasn't been happening on our prior commission in many items. And I hope the new commission appointments will pledge themselves to go ahead and listen to the people's concerns within the small communities and address them in the manner we would like. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Great, thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take it up to Zoom. Go ahead, Julie.
Yes, thank you. Julie again, and thank you for taking a moment of pause for the sirens. That was pretty coincidental. I just wanted to give thanks to Jason and Kim, who did serve on our public safety and stepped down recently. We have been delinquent with a meeting because of that and a lot coming up. So I do appreciate the applicants. However, I have the same sentiment as Kent that this is a pretty big commission as far as I'm concerned. We really only have two commissions, well, Parks Rec, Economic, and Public Safety that we really should be focused on. And I do believe public safety should be number one. So I applaud our applicants and let's keep them coming in. We can always have more people sitting on board to jump in, and we've got a lot going on. So please listen to our council and our public, and I think our applicants will fit right in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. Go ahead, Andrew.
Doing really good. They've got everything under control. Yep.
Yes, I was just waiting to be unmuted. Thank you. So at the end of my comment on the last agenda item, the city manager, for some reason, decided that it was, necessary to correct me. Yeah, and you're interrupting me and you're ignoring my last comment. So the city manager was incorrect. Are you going to interrupt me?
Point of order.
Andrew, I'm going to go ahead and listen, but go ahead.
Good for you. Yeah, go for it. What do you
Cut
want to
that
say?
off,
Go
thanks.
for it. Dumbass.
Okay. I point of order that we please remove him from the discussion for obvious reasons.
Advice from legal, perhaps?
Yeah, I would, this section is for public comment on the particular agenda item. If he doesn't have a comment as to that item, we can move on.
Andrew, you want to go ahead and try again?
Yeah, I do have a comment on that item, but you're interrupting me. So I can't effectively comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think we move forward.
So as I said, you extended the prior agenda item by virtue of comment from your city manager, which was inaccurate. And therefore I'm utilizing this time because I don't have another time. Good job. Yeah. Just
Thank
cut us off. Cut us off. Good job.
thank you, Andrew. I appreciate your time.
I don't.
Right. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, good job.
Andrew, give me a give me a moment here. Anyone else on Zoom want to comment? Last call from public on comment. We'll go ahead and bring it back to council for decision on the safety commission.
Yes. So since one of the applicants is my partner, I'm going to recuse myself from the discussion of choice. I did want to bring up, I don't have it with me, but I did want to bring up that the Public Safety Commission of the 5-member commission, 3 are required to live in town, 2 can be in the sphere of influence, and this commission allows for 2 advisory members to be appointed. And those advisory members are able to sit in for any absent commissioner and vote during meetings if a commissioner is absent. So just keeping that in mind, as there's quite a bit of interest, I think.
It's okay.
Anyway, keeping that in mind, as there's quite a bit of interest, I think is a good thing. And also, since Mr. Shang has not been to either one of the 2 meetings where this commission appointment was to be discussed, I would have reservations about appointing him, as we seem to be appointing people at times that can't get to the meetings and don't go to the commission meetings either. So,
And just to clarify, we have 4 openings on the public safety or 3?
Only 3 today that we can move forward with. Only 3 today that we can move forward with. Right.
All right. So do we want to let's go ahead and have
How do we format this? How do we?
I think one at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to make a nomination based on our interviews last time and the applications that received. As a former member in the military in the U.S. Army, I am familiar with the work that MPs would do. I'm happy to report I'm not too familiar with the work that they would do, but I feel that Ted Hale's qualifications are outstanding. I also have worked with him at the Grange. He's been tremendously reliable and amenable in working with others. So I'd like to nominate Ted Hales for a position on the Public Safety Commission.
We have
I would second that.
all those in favor?
Wait, sorry.
Yes, go
So
ahead.
I believe your ordinance says that if applicants that live within the city apply, they take precedent over applicants outside of the city.
I've reviewed those ordinances. I have not seen anything that gives preference. I do see a number that could be allowed within the sphere. There's a ratio, but there's nothing that dictates on preference.
I believe it does. Let me look that up.
I'd like to get clarification on that.
Yeah, we need clarification. I mean, how long's the clarification going to take on that? Thank you. I said, how long is the clarification going to take on that? We're trying to clarify whether or not a resident that is not within the sphere of influence can be appointed above someone who lives directly in the city. Not. I apologize. Yes.
No.
They are looking right now for the answer. Yes. We have too many this time. It's a rare event.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have on membership for Public Safety Commission. This is under Title II, Administration and Personnel. Under membership 2.24.030. Can you hear me in the back? Great. The Public Safety Commission shall consist of 5 members. No fewer than 3 shall be residents of the city of Blue Lake, and the remaining members must either live, work, or conduct business in the geographical area encompassed within a 3-mile radius of Blue Lake City Hall, and preference will be given to those living within the city limits. So Mandy stands correct.
I knew I read it somewhere.
Okay, moving on. I would like to first nominate or recommend appointing Adeline Jones for the Safety Commission.
Yeah, second that.
We have a first and a second. So
I have a question.
You need to turn your mic on.
Since this isn't about Ted Hells, is the other council member allowed to be in the vote here or no?
I would.
What makes sense?
Can we get a point of clarification on that?
Yeah, I think it's her abstention. And I think she mentioned that she would abstain from any consideration of the appointments.
Okay.
But
thank you.
It's up to her.
Great. All right. We had a first and a second for the nomination of Adeline Jones to the Public Safety Commission. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? So it was 3-1 with Napier dissenting.
No, I didn't vote either way. I give that an aye.
Great. Thank you. So that's all.
4.
4. Yes. All right. Do we have another nomination? Thank you.
I'd like to nominate Justin Joad for the Public Safety Commission.
Second.
All right. We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
I would like to have a discussion on that.
Sure. Yes. Go ahead,
Thank
please.
you. First, I just want to confirm that, Justin, you are now a Blue Lake resident. Is that correct? Welcome back. That's good. Something that I have seen that falls somewhere within conflict of interests does fall in many cities right now are explicitly putting in the language that prohibits employees of a city serving on their commissions or on their councils. And I think that we've already seen some of the dissent and distrust that is created by having a council member become an employee or was an employee become a council member. But I think that that it does extend to contract employees. I've seen language on that. This is a gray area. It is not explicitly black or white. But I did want to inform the public that many municipalities are putting explicit language that prohibits employees from serving on their councils and commissions because of the potential for conflict of interest. There's other language too. It doesn't fall exactly with conflict of interest, but I think the concept is readily understood by all. So I wanted to put that out to the council and see what their thoughts are on that in this instance.
I agree with you. I think we've already had enough drama with the council members and people working for the city being associated with commissions.
Is Justin an employee, contract employee? How does that make any difference? Maybe not.
Yeah, he's just contracted to provide recording services. So it's a very specific task-based contract.
But it is still a level of employment, and it
And
is
I don't
considered
believe
an
that we
employee. And
have that policy. So I
and
mean,
that
it's something you
it's
could
very
develop
sorry.
for
Go ahead.
sure.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's definitely something that you could bring back or develop or ask staff to look into. But at this time, I don't believe we have any language or policies to that effect. And we did look into that at length when we had an employee, had a council member apply for employment.
And then I wanted to go back to when we were looking at our liaison appointments, and I think that there was a discussion, Ryan, concerning a possible conflict between being on the Chamber of Commerce as a liaison, and I think this was one of the things that Christopher is looking at, either economic development, but had involvement with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's difficult to bring this forward, Justin, because you're very active, and these are all good things, but we also have to look at how many layers we kind of get folded and tangled in with each other. So that's why I'm bringing this up. I felt like there was a parallel where we had spoken about a potential conflict with being on the Chamber Commission, Chamber of Commerce, and then also working as a commission. So again, I think that this appointment could be problematic. I don't think the problem is the person, but I think it is the engagement of employment uh, and also being involved on the commission with that same employer.
I don't foresee this being any, against the code in any way, shape, or form. I think we go with the vote.
All right. So you want to go ahead and we have a first and a second. And so apologies. Who was it? Who did,
Chris and Michelle.
Chris Michelle. Great. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. It does. It's a tie. What's our? Where do we go
Doesn't
from here?
go.
Most ties. Thank you.
Well, it's too bad. Huh?
All right.
I'd like to make a quick note. Is Roxanne here with us on Zoom? Can she go ahead and do her interview if she wants to, just like we did with the previous candidates?
I think we're still in the public safety, right?
Yeah.
Is Roxanne applying for public safety? Is
No.
Okay.
Great.
You can
I had myself. Thanks, John.
It's okay. Elise, are you coming back? We're still voting on. It didn't pass, so no. And yeah, nice.
Okay.
All right. So
We have
we
two.
we
No, we have one.
we still have candidates, correct?
Right.
And we still have two positions.
Two positions, two candidates.
Okay, great. Can we get a nomination? Some more nominations?
Well, we're having to go in sequence then. A preference for Blue Lake residents. We have Rebecca Collins, who has been consistently participating within city council meetings, I think attending others. I don't know that you are employed with the city in any way. Okay. Right. So I would nominate Rebecca Collins.
Did you speak? Did you speak last time on? I mean, you're welcome to speak again. I'm not going to stop you from speaking, but
I would like to withdraw my nomination from this commission. I do not want to say why in public, but I will provide you with my reasoning in a private letter. And so I am withdrawing my appointment. Thank you.
great. Thank you.
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Ted Hales.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion on the item? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. All right. Do we have any other spots available?
One more.
One more. All right. And do we have any more people to appoint?
Donald Shank.
All right. And Donald, are you here on Zoom? No, Donald.
No, Donald.
Yeah, I think
I make a motion that we appoint Donald Shank to the Public Safety Commission.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Has he been here for any of the
Does he want to
appointments
step
or
up and help?
questions?
I think he does. That's why I want him.
He's not appeared before us, so
Okay.
that's my only concern is because we did set the criteria that people needed to come before us in order to be appointed.
Correct. Okay.
And, okay, can I just, how many do we have on the Public Safety Commission?
They have three now, so they can form a quorum.
We do, okay.
We
We'll make
do.
sure we have
Yeah.
a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
Imperative.
Any other comments from council on?
Did we have a second? Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
So we are not. So we have a first and a second for Donald, but I think we did not
You
vote.
need to vote.
So I think, do we need to have discussion or just go ahead and vote on it?
I would like to vote.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on it. Okay, all those in favor of appointing Donald, he has not appeared before us, just so we're aware. All those in favor of appointing Donald to the Public Safety Commission, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Well,
The motion doesn't pass. We do have a quorum. All right, let's go ahead and move.
It's not in favor of appointing people to commissions if they're not going to show up. There's no point in appointing somebody who won't show up.
Okay.
No.
All right.
It did not pass. I apologize. Thank you.
Parks and Rec, 1 seat.
So we have Parks and Rec. We have 1 seat available. Has
Okay.
that person is being reappointed? Is that correct, Mandy?
Yes.
Okay.
And are they present today?
Are they present?
Zoom?
He is,
I
Leslie?
do not know.
I motion that we appoint James Brown to the
Second.
Parks and Rec Commission. He's been on the commission forever. You can go back to see many minutes of his presentations and all. Let's just,
I can speak for James that I was the liaison to that commission for 2 years. He missed very few meetings and he's
Great.
very participatory and very involved. So I would support his appointment.
All right. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor? We have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, hearing none, he's appointed, reappointed, excuse me. All right. And so just to confirm, the other positions are still on the cool down. Is that correct? For appointment?
Are on what?
We cannot appoint the other members. Is that
No, you
correct?
can. It's been noticed. These
No,
are.
we can't. It has not been noticed. It
It's been
absolutely
noticed
hasn't.
since December when the Maddie Act
The
goes out
vacancies were
about
not
all of them.
noticed. The vacancies were not noticed.
They're
The
commission terminations. They're expiring commissions. That
they
has
were
been
not noticed as
noticed.
vacancies. Public
It's
was not aware that they were able to apply to those commissions because they were not noticed as vacancies.
So I have a
There-
clarification I need to ask. So when the notice, you can see the person, their name, you can see when they started and when they are done.
Yes.
That date is highlighted as far as their expiration date, and it's been posted
Every
and it's
day for
posted
years.
for the entire time. So that does not serve as notice. Is that correct?
In my opinion, it does
does,
not,
the Maddie
especially when it's on the board right next to a poster that says there are vacancies on the commissions and it doesn't list those. That I was in the post office last week and that Maddie Act, which is up to date, was posted right next to a poster that says we have one commission opening on the public safety and one commission opening on Parks and Rec, but it didn't mention economic development. So it's very confusing. I mean, if somebody were to fully understand how everything works and they saw the Maddie Act, they might assume that, but next to another poster that states there are no openings on that commission, I think the assumption the average Joe would make is that there are no openings and they would not apply for an opening that didn't appear to be the case. So I'm definitely opposed to making those appointments tonight. We can
I'm in
make them at our
favor.
very next meeting.
I'm in favor of making those appointments tonight.
Mhm.
Great.
I think currently do we have a, quorum we're talking economic development, correct, at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so we do have a quorum at this time with economic development.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so because I haven't. Is Jake still on the commission? But it's been Kelly, Darcy, me, Cindy, and I think is that everyone? So without
Yes.
Darcy and Jake not showing up at meetings, it would be Kelly and Cindy, which would not be enough for a quorum.
To be honest, I think the city did in good faith post these
Mercy.
positions. They're publicly available. I think if someone is actively wanting to participate, they would seek it out ahead of time. I think the city really has done its due diligence in keeping those items posted all the time. I'm in favor of reappointing these people, but if we have
Second.
strong objections.
I have a question for the attorney on that. So we have, there are other applicants, Ryan, that came in today. The manager's position is that because it's not included in the packet, they couldn't be considered. In the application process or the information that I find, at least in way of ordinance, there's nothing that's restricting them from being considered on that. So I'm hoping that you could guide us on whether any applicants could be considered or only those who submitted before. Thank you.
Without a firm date for receipt of applications, you can consider applications on a rolling period as they come before you. And so if you don't fill it with the appointments that are before you, you'll have additional applicants that you can consider at a future meeting.
But conversely, applicants that came in since Friday, can they be considered today?
Yes, the agenda item is appointing somebody to the commission. That agenda item was posted 72 hours before. The agenda item is not limited by the applicants.
Okay.
And so those would be, those could be considered. They're not in your packet, so you don't have the information. And so, if you wanted to consider those, then you could either review the applications now, tonight, or review them at a future meeting.
Can we interview Roxanne and Darcy?
Roxanne, go ahead. I see you up there on Zoom.
I'm here. My connection is unstable. If it drops out again during this, I'll run over.
Okay. Go ahead.
Me? Are there any questions?
Oh, yeah, Roxanne, just I haven't met you before. If you could just kind of give us your background. I know that you filled out an application. You've been serving on the committee or the commission, excuse me. But
Since
if you
its
could just
inception, so I am employed by REDEC, Redwood Region Economic Development Commission, as a lender, and my background is in finance and lending. I've let's see, and I live in Blue Lake, and I love Blue Lake, and I am really excited about all the engagement we've had. This is really exciting to see. It's a little overwhelming, but yep, I have 2 kids and a dog and some chickens and a cat. I don't, are there questions or?
about the Economic Development Commission.
I like that everybody gets a chance to have a say. I mean, I feel like we're inclusive at meetings, and we've had a lot more participation recently, and it keeps us on our toes, and it also it helps us think about what we're doing. We've kind of emerged from the pandemic into whatever's next, and we are seeing some more businesses in Blue Lake starting to prosper. I like knowing or hearing about the ideas for the community and what people would like to see, and how like long-term big projects come together over time, even though it can be frustratingly slow for some people who like things to happen quickly. I mean, the progress is made. It's just made on a bigger scale. It takes a while to do things right.
Roxanne, any other questions for Roxanne? Hearing none.
So can we also then have the other applicants' information that we can consider before we move this to a vote?
I don't have any of that information printed because it came in late today, so I was not prepared to bring that forward. We've never done that before, so.
Yeah, seems pretty last minute. Well, we have 2 candidates that are ready to go here.
Can we get a maybe some feedback, as one of the current members of this commission is typically absent from those meetings? Has that person met the requirement to be removed from that commission? Do we actually maybe have 3 seats that could be appointed?
Not noticed.
I don't know.
She's asking Roxanne, I think.
Oh.
Roxanne, can you give me any feedback on that question?
I don't think we've set a firm precedent or have a rule for that, but I think it's something that could be agendized and discussed at the Economic Development Commission about, how many meetings consecutively you miss, either excused, unexcused, before you are invited to resign your position.
Do you have that information, Kat?
Yeah, I believe we have some here. I'm looking for it now.
Each one of the commission related ordinances has a removal clause, and I don't know what that is for the economic development off the top of my head.
Don't know that's necessary to tonight because we only have 2 that we have posted and noticed. Is that correct?
Right. Well, I'm going to stick with my position, and I think we need to leave the field open for any other comers.
Can we interview Darcy?
Sure.
Thank you. I think I saw Darcy.
Paging Darcy Lima.
She's not here, it looks like.
She went home.
Okay.
Do we want to go ahead and potentially table this item
Yep.
Yeah.
and then,
Yes, table and move on.
Thank you,
well,
Roxanne.
Yeah.
thank you, Roxanne. Appreciate it. Just a suggestion, I'm not gonna make the motion, but if you guys want to table and bring it back at a future meeting.
Yes, I'd make a motion at this point that we go ahead and table this, clarify our information, number of candidates and our postings, and then be ready for appointment,
And I would second that and that we bring it back to our very next meeting.
please. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor of bringing this item back to the next meeting?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? So 4-1, fire dissenting. Thank you. All right. Sorry, guys. We want to get to the other stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. We are on the battery storage discussion. City Manager Megger, do you want to go ahead and? Oh, well, that's hand.
Okay. Yes.
City Manager Megger, do you want to go ahead and begin the discussion on this, or?
We'll go ahead and defer this to Ryan.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks. So at the special meeting last week, staff gave a report on where the negotiations stand with power transitions. We presented the structure of the deal, the hybrid concept of a option agreement to sell 2 acres and potentially, if the council agrees in the future, an option to lease an additional 4 acres. We covered the overall structure. We covered the purchase price. And at the end of the presentation, I asked the council for direction on 2 things. One was, is the council interested in the hybrid concept? And there seemed to be support for that. And the second question was tabled to tonight, which is the council interested in staff pursuing transactional documents that you could approve in the month of March? Not approving it tonight, of course, but is that the road that you'd like staff to travel so that we can bring you transactional documents for you to review in the month of March? Or alternatively, did you want to wait until the September PG&E application window? And I noted, the benefit of approving it in March was demolition potentially happened sooner. The demolition costs that have been obtained to date are still valid. And if we waited until September, demolition would be pushed back. And we also, time elapse. And I don't know what the appetite of the other party would be in September. So that was where we wanted some council feedback as to what your direction was. That was tabled to tonight so that the town hall and the battery tour could happen. And so staff is still looking for that direction from the council so that we know how you would like us to proceed, and either proceeding to bring something back in March, or tabling this until potentially September. So I'll stop there and open it up.
Great. All right. Council, go ahead and begin discussion. What do we prefer?
To clarify, Ryan, I know when we had first gone over this new hybrid, which is, I think, really trying to accommodate many of the concerns that have been expressed, we talked about a number of ways in which, even if we began this process, there are many other off ramps, as we would say. I'll speak up. Sorry. The new hybrid version this was brought forward because many concerns from the community were heard: the size, the scope, the amount of obligation, and this wasn't the council working on this, but staff and city attorney who are appointed to move these forward worked with Power Transitions and brought back something that is very different in scale. And this is where I'm asking Ryan if you could kind of educate me again, and make all of us aware in a quiet room. what are some of the off ramps? And I guess first question, if we say yes, do March, what are we committing to? And if we do move forward in March, what are opportunities where the city will say this does not fit for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
So all we're looking for is direction tonight. You're not committing to anything. Basically, you're telling staff, spend the time, effort to bring us transactional documents that we can begin reviewing for potential approval in March. Nothing is approved until you approve the actual transactional documents, which will happen in the future. I went over last time off ramps that if we approve the option agreement, the city has to avoid tying up the property for the 2-year option period. And these are mutually acceptable off ramps. The first is if there's no RCEA offtake agreement, if there's no buyer for the power, there's the project is not viable. So that's off ramp number one. And that happens sooner rather than later, if not this spring, then early this summer. The second is if the initial study back from PG&E shows that the project's not viable. That would be another off ramp. The second is if we are unable during the option term to negotiate a mutually agreeable demolition agreement that would set forth the terms and conditions under which Power Transitions would demo the above ground non-concrete structures on the entire site. If we can't come to agreement on that, as that being the primary consideration that the city is getting in return for selling the 2 acres, the city could terminate the agreement. And then the last one that I talked about is the city's, as an off ramp to terminating the option agreement would be if the demolition is not performed in accordance with the demolition agreement, primarily the time frame for the demolition and achieving substantial completion with respect to the demolition. So those are the off ramps that would allow the city to terminate the option agreement. The other thing is the regulatory approvals, which this option agreement does not grant. And so during the option term, once Power Transitions has secured the option to acquire the property, they can begin the entitlement process, which is the regulatory permits that they would need from the city among other agencies. The city would be acting in its regulatory capacity with respect to that. Planning Commission review, City Council review, conditions on the use permit that the city deemed appropriate. CEQA compliance, of course, would be part and parcel of that. Other permits that would be necessary would be part and parcel of that. It is a condition of Power Transition's ability to exercise and purchase the property that all government approvals be issued first. The other conditions that I discussed, of course, CEQA compliance, demolition, and there would be other terms and conditions in the purchase agreement or in the option agreement that Power Transitions would need to approve, which are standard conditions for an option agreement that would be included in the transactional documents, such as the accuracy of their reps and warranties, performance under the option agreement, and other standard conditions in addition to the larger ones before they could actually close on the property. And those would all be contained within the actual transactional documents.
One follow-up question to that.
Sure.
If we were to move forward in March and we find that we get hung up, then does this kind of automatically revert to the September window?
Well, from our perspective, that would be the hope. If the council's still interested in the project, we would still need a willing buyer on the other side. And they could speak for themselves if that was to come and go. The exclusive right to negotiate extends beyond March, but they can terminate that at any time if they're no longer interested in moving forward with the project. Of course, the site control is a necessary component of the PG&E application. Site control is defined in the PG&E tariff as an option to purchase or an option to lease. So our option agreement would satisfy that. Site control is not a requirement for the RCEA procurement process. So Power Transitions could continue to go through with the RCEA and put off negotiations with us until they are selected as a finalist with RCEA. And then we could pick up negotiations again with the eye towards meeting the PG&E September window. Of course, I'm speaking for them. They would need to voluntarily make this decision because nothing binds them to continue negotiating with us if they don't meet their targeted window. But I think there's concern from Power Transitions as to the continual rising costs of development and pushing this out to September. They'd have to get all new, they'd have to run a new pro forma on the viability of the project, including the cost of demolition.
Thank you. Any other questions from council?
Well, I could go on for days, but please let others.
Well, it just seems to me that the city doesn't have any, the city's opportunity to get out of the agreement if we go forward at this time seem pretty thin. It looks like it all rests in the hands of Power Transitions. Number three, if we were unable to agree on a demolition agreement, but I would think that that really still isn't much of an off ramp for the city. So it seems to me that going forward at this time really does obligate us to what could potentially be a 2-year commitment on our part. And I'm still not feeling comfortable with that. Maybe if we had been part of the conversation prior to last week, we might have some slightly different feelings about that. But I still feel like it's too much too soon. I wasn't expecting this timeline to get pushed up like it is. I thought we were going to have 8 months of exclusive negotiating time to get to this place. And I did verify some process with RCEA today, just in terms of what they're asking for. And nothing has changed since December 19th. Their requirements were published December 19th. And so it's not like something was suddenly discovered in the last 2 or 3 weeks that changed the game for anybody. So I, still feeling like, yikes, the rules have remained the same, the processes remain the same, and suddenly we're under the gun to speed things up and agree to something different. And I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah, just to address some of those things. I mean, with the off ramp, the requirement that the city and Power Transitions mutually agree to a demolition agreement gives us total discretion. I mean, if we don't agree to a demolition agreement, we take the off ramp and we terminate the agreement. They can't say this is the demolition agreement, agree to it. And so that's something that would be subject to further negotiation, and it would come before the council as here's the demolition agreement, and we would negotiate back and forth. And if ultimately the city council doesn't say let's move forward with it, then that condition wouldn't be satisfied.
Could you could you explain some of those terms that might appear in the demolition agreement that could be in consideration?
Yeah, the demolition agreement primarily is going to be the document that says Power Transitions, you are obligated to remove and dispose of the above ground structures, non-concrete structures. It would be a license to enter the city property in order to remove it. There would be a mechanism to approve the contractor, obligation that they keep the city property free of liens, an obligation that they pay for the demolition, the time for completion, insurance, indemnity, bonding, both material and performance, labor, material, and performance, insurance, indemnity, assumption of the environmental liabilities, and other standard terms and conditions that would be in such an agreement. There'd be a provision for auditing the costs because the city's interest is ensuring that the actual costs are what they are, because that affects ultimately the credit towards the purchase price. So all of those would be in the demolition contract for the city's protection. Again, that's not something that we've started negotiating because the first step is the option agreement. So if we can't come to terms on the demolition agreement, by the August of 2025 is really in my mind when the city could say, we're not going to come to terms on the manner in which the demolition is going to occur. And so we're going to exercise our right to terminate. Again, that's in the city's control. The RCEA procurement process is separate from the PG&E procurement process. Originally, Power Transitions was pursuing an interconnect on the, and Jeff can speak to this better, the distribution side through California ISO, Cal ISO. It's a longer process. It's a it's a process that's has no level of certainty. It could take years. On the PG&E side, on the transmission side, they're pursuing an interconnect agreement directly with PG&E. And I showed from the tariff, the language on the two application windows, it's March and September. And that was a change from the original exclusive negotiating agreement that they made. And they asked us to come to council to see if March was doable. And that's what we did. And so we're seeking your guidance on that.
Great, thank you. Any other comments from council or questions? Before we open to the public, I want everyone to know this decision that's made tonight is not approving or disapproving this project. We're simply picking a timeline. Just wanting you to know that. We'll go ahead and open it up for public discussion now. Yes, go ahead, sir. Yes, please. What was that? Go ahead. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juniper Summers. I've been a restoration specialist for over the last decade, including various NEPA and CEQA processes, environmental projects. I'm a prospective grad student, Cal Poly Humboldt, in environmental engineering and clean transition. So this topic is important to me. And I think the idea of having a power system for Blue Lake or Humboldt in general is a good idea. We all are aware of some of the issues that we have with PG&E in this state. I'm speaking specifically to the numerous wildfires they have caused. I won't go on that. I do see issue with the lack of a sufficient timeline for both public comment and scoping on a project of this scale and importance. You can see how many people have attended this council meeting tonight with significant interest in this issue. And I think to give everyone's voices, to allow everyone's voices to be heard, extending this timeline would be a good idea. Speaking personally, I see issue with the way, my limited awareness of the way this process has unfolded so far. From my limited understanding, I believe there was a company that reached out to the city of Blue Lake with this proposal. And I have a couple questions. The first of which is, has the city of Blue Lake entertained other options beside the one that was presented tonight? Are there other companies or models that could be adopted that would meet the same goals as what is being proposed, that allows for more public input and allows for perhaps a model where we don't see the potential of a situation like the battery fire that happened in the town of Moss Landing, California, earlier this year. That was pretty catastrophic. Volatile organic compounds that are released in a battery fire are extremely toxic to public health. I think that is a concern with some of the people here tonight. I think these things need to be looked at in depth. A timeline of trying to move this forward by September, off-ramps or not, is not sufficient. I'm going to end it here, one suggestion, as a person that's worked in forestry, restoration forestry and prescribed fire for quite a while now. I've mostly lived in Orleans, Somes Bar, that side of the county. And I've recently moved down to this side of the county.
Juniper, you have 30 seconds.
I would suggest looking into microbiomass generation for a power station. That is a strong need in Humboldt County and would meet the needs that this project is.
Thank you very much. Quick question. How many people are going to be commenting tonight? Could we get a show of hands? Okay, great. Anyone from outside going to be commenting? Okay, great. I don't think that's enough that we need to limit the time to 2 minutes or anything like that. So let's go ahead and continue. Thank you.
My name is Roy Gomez. I live off West End Road. I think I might be out of the sphere of influence, but I don't think it matters for this purpose. I attended the meeting on Sunday, and I attended with an open mind, trying to gain more knowledge about the person proposing and the company that's proposing the situation. And what really concerned me more about this situation was the fires and the potential for fires and what happened in Moth Landing. And I attended with my 8-year-old daughter who had a lot of questions. She's really inquisitive and likes to know, of course, if we're going somewhere, what's going on. So I let her know, and she was definitely interested and sat through the meeting and drew and paid attention. And one of the questions I asked was, what's the worst case scenario here, and what's the potential for a fire? And I was answered by Mr. Goldstein. Is that your name? Yeah. And you said that there was, that the likelihood of that was non-existent, that that wouldn't happen. So I took that for your word, and from that point, I had another gentleman next to me who mentioned that that in this case scenario, because it's a iron, lithium, and not ion, that it would melt in a sense. And so I took that as, what you're an expert, I'm not. And when we went home, of course, my daughter asked me, what I thought about it, and I asked her what she thought about it, because I know that she's very intuitive, and she says, well, it sounds like there's not going to be any problems with fire, and we'll be okay, right? I was like, yeah, that's what I was told and what we were told. And after doing the research, I'm going to have to go back and inform her that that was not true. There has been lots of fires in California and China and Australia. The worst one being in China, where people have died, people have been injured, and who knows what the long-term effects are going to be. So I'm going to have to go back to my daughter and let her know that that was a lie. And I know that she's going to ask me, why? Why would he lie? And I have to be simple with her. Obviously, she's 8 years old. And I'm going to have to let her know, because that gentleman doesn't have our community in his best interest.
Roy, you have 30 seconds.
He has his pocketbook in his best interest.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
All right. I have a major advantage to some people here because I started getting involved in this probably 2.5 or 3 months ago. And I have some questions. First question is regarding the cost for our attorney to draw up the agreement that he would be bringing to you for your approval. Timeline, how long it would take to draw that up. At this time, I would not recommend making a decision tonight. I think maybe schedule something for maybe around the 9th of March, which seems to meet timelines. And the reason being is because we haven't got back the information that we're hoping to get from them regarding the appraised value as far as what the total appraisal will be. And I really can't look at the project as far as financial viability, if it's viable at all or anything, till we get those numbers. So we need, and that's supposed to happen later this week, hopefully is what I understand. So I would personally say that and giving us more information. Unfortunately, the New Deal, I don't know where it wasn't in the packet. I can't find it on the website. So we've changed the whole deal, is my understanding. There's no longer, if I understand it, a right to get the additional 6 acres. That's not an option of this anymore. I'd love to see the potential agreement. That should have been on the website. It should have been in the packet. Maybe you guys have it, but we don't. And if you want us to participate and make informed decisions and give you our opinions, we have to have full access to the information. And so I strongly suggest that you that not make a decision tonight, but give all of us some time to see that packet, to see what it is, to get the appraisal, and then to address some more questions we have. There's no gigantic hurry to make this tonight, one way or another. I know a lot of people like to just say, no, I'm not in the position. I'd like to say no until I get more information. I do understand the islanding, which is an important factor for us in many ways. But of course, we have a major problem down there to deal with, and we're going to need to come up with at least $500,000 somehow. So I don't know. I'm personally able to, but I'm not going to donate $500,000 to remediate that. Some other people who've just moved here. Actually, a lot of people come from down south and they're living here, and they sold their houses for $1 million or $2 million, and they spent $700,000. So they have the money they could donate should they feel it necessary instead of that. So I just
30
wanted to point
seconds.
that out. But we do have to have access to money to take care of the problem. And I toured the site today. I don't know how many of you have, but there are toxic problems there. I have to weigh whether the toxic problems there are equal to or worse than potential toxic problems of what we're putting in. So I need more information, and until we get that, I highly recommend that you go ahead and consider a special meeting or something a little bit later, probably around March 9th. And again, the question is, how long did it take to draft the document, and how much does it cost us? Because right now you'd have to come up with the money to start with. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Robinson. I'm a local plumber. You probably know me. Also, like Juniper, I went to it was Humboldt State University at that time and studied engineering. I believe we really do need to clean up that site. I saw some really nasty water coming out of there when there was some serious rains. I also believe that global warming is real and that battery storage is the best available way that we now have for storing solar energy that's collected during the day. I remember at least a year ago when Mayor Adeline Jones was speaking of this idea of getting battery storage there at that location. And I thought it was a great idea then. I don't know how long this has been under discussion, but I think it's a great idea in theory. I do have concerns that there does need to be off ramps. It's sounding like there's off ramps with respect to the cleanup, and there's also the CEQA process. So if CEQA is a wrecking ball, that's a problem. But if we can actually have a say in the CEQA process where the council is continually looking at the impacts and weighs in on the CEQA process, I feel that if we do have problems with fire hazard in the scoping process, that we do have another opportunity to say no. And I feel like this is solving a couple of problems, and it's worth looking into. And I feel like this would be a good opportunity to keep going. Now, I am concerned. Jeff was mentioning that something to do with RCEA and the viability of this project, that it likely would not happen if we postponed it till September. I don't understand that. I'm concerned about that because obviously the community is very concerned about a lot of aspects of this project. But maybe we can at least get the ball rolling and recognize that there's off ramps or ensure that there is off ramps. Okay, I'm going to surrender my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I said most of what I had to say Sunday, and I think most of the people that are here were there. My background is that I've got an accounting degree from Humboldt State University, and I've got 15 years of development formal work in our local area with one of the largest developers we have here. So I'm familiar with the process you're talking about with working out the agreement as far as that part of it goes. But okay. So one of the things I noticed, and I'm not sure exactly where on the documents I looked at on Sunday afternoon, there was a discussion of a $600,000 purchase price offset by $500,000 worth of renovation or reclamation or whatever you want to call it, and a audited cost analysis of the cost of remediation. What that tells me is that if it costs more than $500,000 to clean up that site, the $600,000 won't cover it. And if that's the case, then the city would be on the hook for the balance of the cleanup, besides having given the $600,000 in property. So that's a concern for me, and I just look through that. And I'm not sure what's going to be the final agreement because everything's constantly changing, and you can't pin it down on what the agreement was. Is it 6 acres? Is it 2 acres? Is it 2 acres with 4 to go later, or what? And what my concern is one of the assets of the project is being able to hook up to PG&E, and if that's goes in the first segment of this in the 2 acre parcel, and we end up having to pay to clean this up on top of that. It doesn't seem to me like we're giving away a pretty big asset for an opportunity to pay for our own cleanup. The other thing that I would like to say is that I went down, I guess it was maybe Saturday, and looked at where the city is in relationship to that site. And then on Sunday, I looked at what the weather pattern was for Sunday. If you had a fire and toxic fumes from a fire down there, it blows, unless it's a north wind type of day, which we have where it's clear. But like on
30
Sunday, where it was a
seconds.
typical winter day, it blows directly across the center of our town. So that's something to weigh too, as far as that part of it goes. I mean, I think that the potential of a toxic fire down there would just devastate the whole town.
Thank you very much. Staff, staff, do you guys want to clarify the we are absolutely going to hear from everyone. Yes. I just want to go ahead and staff, you want to clarify the agreement on the purchase of the land and what happens when the cleanup exceeds the value of the land?
Yeah, so if the demolition is less than the appraised value, they owe us the difference. If the demolition exceeds the appraised value, they have to still pay for it. And they will take care of the cost over and above the appraised value. As it stands now, it actually requires them to pay $100 still if the demolition costs exceed the appraised value, but they still are on hook for the full cost of the demolition, irrespective of the appraised value. The city would not have to cover that cost.
Great, thank you. I want to go ahead and open it back up for public comment. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna say my piece as a young person here. I work in Blue Lake at Wild Rose Organic Farm, so I feel like I'm very much a part of the ecosystem here. Every day I see red-tailed hawks, I see deer, I've seen beavers on the Mad River. So I really care about the ecosystem of the Botawat. It seems like one of the benefits of the battery storage being discussed is the demolition and removal of some of the existing infrastructure from the power plant, though it would actually be repurposed. So part of me is asking, is it worth cleaning up a mess to risk making a potentially bigger mess? As it was said earlier by Public Works, Hatchery Road is historic for flooding. To me, the plant should not be located near an environmentally sensitive area. So I hear the need for renewable energy resources, but I do not want it by the river. In terms of timeline, it seems consistent that decisions with environmental risk are often pushed to having less and less time for deliberation. So I suggest we push back on that. And I also think global warming is real. And I also think putting our rivers at risk is a risk I am not willing to take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Thank you, Terry, for waiting. I apologize for interrupting you earlier. It's okay.
I guess my point when I was bringing this up about the inconsistencies that were, thank you, brought up at Sunday's meeting, and that they don't fall in line with what would be an emergency response guide from a company that sells these big battery systems. And it's mandatory for them to make this available to emergency responders. And there was really clear inconsistencies and not the truth. And we're looking for a company that can, if everybody agrees that this is a good idea, I don't think it is right by the river. That's my opinion. But to have a company that would come in here and know exactly what they were talking about and being clear and being consistent is very, very important, because the safety of this depends on somebody knowing what they're doing, being able to address issues. And I just also think that our river is so important. And, according to the Army Corps of Engineers, and I have the reports, I read them, that levee has been breached 2 to 3 times. One, I just found the report today, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of discussion about that. And the fact that our levee is not certified, and that means it has problems that need to be taken care of. And I think that's the first place we need to start on this, is to make sure that that is safe if we're putting housing, if we're considering everything else in that area, because we have consistently had floods and different things happen here, and we have to address that, because even that emergency response guide says that you cannot get these wet, and to do so can cause a thermal runaway. It says it in the document. So that isn't something that was covered by them, and I would have great concerns about the environmental impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Lori, go ahead in the back. Come up, though. Sorry.
My name's Lori Ponte. A big part of this discussion is talking about renewables, solar, wind. We're not going to be using renewables. The energy is coming from a PG&E line. It's coming in, it's going out. So we're not really doing anything green with this project at this point. So I just want to make sure that it's heard that this is not a green project. And Mr. Goldstein, you and I asked you that question earlier at a meeting, and it's clear this is not, it's not solar. We're not doing anything green. If it were, that would be awesome, and I don't think there would be so many people as concerned. But we're not using renewables. We're not saving anything. We're just pulling energy in from PG&E and putting it back out to the grid. And maybe Blue Lake will get 4 hours. I mean, how many of us have lost power for days? And not everybody has generator, but most of us can survive without a day or two of power. It's not pleasant, but it's not something that we would be totally uncomfortable without having power for a day or two. So thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jamie Bolton, a resident of Blue Lake. Um, it's my understanding that the majority of the water that serves Humboldt County comes from the Mad River. And I don't know if the county of Humboldt has been brought in on this conversation, like the whole county, because I don't personally think that Blue Lake has the right to make a decision about what happens to the water for the rest of the county without talking to them about it first. I have serious concerns about pollution, um, about all of the risks and just the sensitive area, uh, the animals, just it's so beautiful here. Why will we risk? I don't know if other options have been like grants or other options been searched out for assistance in cleaning up the old plant. I But it seems really fishy to me that some Texas-based organization or
You have 10
corporation came in
seconds.
here and you know is putting it on a platter, making it look really great, but has been caught lying about important information. And
It's 3
they do a
minutes.
pardon?
Sorry. It's your 3 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it done?
Yeah.
Oh,
It goes really fast. Sorry.
No, it wasn't. That it wasn't 3 minutes.
I had mine going.
It was not. Sorry, Mandy. It was. I think I have 2 minutes left on my timer.
Oh.
Thank Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Go
Maybe
ahead.
I just kept it
Continue.
going
You have
too
a minute and a
much.
half.
thanks. I have a daughter that still lives in this county. I also have a daughter who lives in Monterey. And I have a father, an elderly father who lives in Arcata, a sister and brother-in-law who live in Arcata. I live here. I've lived in Humboldt County my whole life. And I don't want some corporate agency getting a hold of us. We don't deserve that. And yeah, it's corporate greed. And I don't agree with it, and I think the majority of the people in this room don't agree with it. And so I'm hoping that you vote no. I'm hoping for everybody who lives here's sake that you vote no. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, any other public comment?
I just would like to, I just thank all of you for showing up Sunday and showing up tonight and giving your opinions. And, everybody bring things to the table. I'm sure people here think this is a really good project. So speak up, speak up why you think that, speak up why you don't think it is. We now have 172 people that have signed our petition online against this project. And we will continue to make our petition for people to sign that aren't comfortable signing it online. But if you would like to sign the petition against this project, you're welcome. I welcome all of you that feel this is a good project to, speak up why you think it's a good project. Speak up why you don't think it's a good project. This is dialogue. This is the time for the city to quit fighting each other and come together and discuss. This is one of the most important issues that this city is ever going to face. It's our safety, It's our livelihood. We need to get that site cleaned up one way or the other. That power plant has got to come down. It is dangerous, but to say dangerous, 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 and put that kind of fear is uncalled for. I mean, let's have some realistic dialogue. What does it really cost to take down that power plant? What options do we have to get it taken down? What are the real toxic remediation that needs to be done out there on that site? It just seems to be skipped around, and we don't ever get, not, I won't say not the truth, but we don't get exactly what's happening out there. It's been sitting out there like this now for how long? Since we closed Ultra Power down. You know, Mandy told me there were 3 companies that were willing to take that site down. That's what you told me that day. You know? So, I mean, is there a bond that the city would be willing to bond to help remediate what's out there? A parcel tax? I mean, there must be other ways, and I think we really need to have some positive conversation about the dangers of the plant and the possible dangers of putting battery storage down there on that river. You know, the levee is compromised. It could not be certified by the state. The city was supposed to remediate and do some maintenance on that levee, and it has not been done. So, like my sister said, the bottom line is we need to get that levee back in shape, because if it floods, it is going to break through and it is going to come into this town. So in 1997, it was 3 feet from the top of that levee. And if it had rained through the night, it would have come through that levee.
Please go
There
ahead
are
and
people
finish.
that live down there.
Please go ahead and
So
finish up. Apologies. Thank you so much. Yes, go ahead.
Said who I was before.
It's all right.
So I've lived at Blue Lake 78 years. And this reminds me of when they wanted to put the tire burning thing in there. You remember that, don't you? You remember that. And 69 years ago, my grandfather was head of the Army Corps of Engineers that put the levee in. And I don't want this battery factory here. I heard they start burning. You can't get them out. That's just what I've heard. And I left Blue Lake. As you know, I've been here all this time. Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Yes, go ahead. Um, uh, she's already come out, and then I'll get you next. I did point at you, though. I apologize. Come on. All right, you're up.
Well, I remember a meeting a few months ago when when I walked outside after the meeting, there was a man who had wanted to clean out the mess that's there, and he wasn't considered, and he said he would not have charged us a single penny because he could make money from all the materials that are there. And he would have done it for free, and he wasn't considered. So I think that what's going on for us pressure wise is the state saying that we have to clean it up and there's a deadline on it. We have people who are willing to do that, and we need to follow through, and we do not need to have such a horrible, dangerous thing in order to get it cleaned out. So that's the one thing that I wanted to say. And then the other is, as far as water goes and flooding in an area, a year ago, we were out there putting down sandbags everywhere. And there were places we couldn't drive. And they say, oh, well, we can come in and bring our big trucks and lift everything up and get it out. That's not true. It's all flooded. And they can't, they have it all bolted down on concrete. So they're just going to pick it up, put it on big trucks. Where are the big trucks coming from? You know, it's ridiculous and it's a terrible waste. And we have other options. And we can have a really clean, beautiful place and we can build homes on it. You know, we can do good things with it.
Thank you very much.
My name is Lynn Glenn. I live in Blue Lake and have for almost 50 years. And I also remember the tire burning discussions that went on. I think the council has a challenge here because the city needs a lot of things that this project would do for it. We need to have a cleanup of the power plant. We need to have regular income, which is another issue that this would solve. Maybe a BESS is the best solution for that. You know, we don't know, but we really, the only information on the safety, which is a big concern of the community of the BESS, has mostly come from power transitions. And I think definitely you should wait until September at the very minimum to give yourselves time to maybe do your own research, maybe ask people to come in and talk to you from the outside, from other information sources about this type of plant. But the most important thing, if you do decide to go with a BESS, is that the company that puts it in should be very trustworthy and highly experienced. And power transitions is neither of those things, I don't think. That's what we were finding out in the last week or two. They've been in operation for 2 years. They've never done a BESS plant. They may have people on staff that know about them, but companies can override professional decisions. Accountants can override decisions. I think you need to find a company that has experience doing this. Also, I had liked Jeff Goldstein, and his presentation was good. And I thought we could rely on him. But then on Sunday, I heard him answer the concern about the fact that the two co-founders of Power Transitions used to work for Enron. And Enron had a lot of scandals and deceit. They had the largest bankruptcy in history. And he's mentioned particularly, so he said his response was John T. Long. What did he say? This guy was in his 30s. He wasn't an officer of the company. He was an officer of the region in Africa. Okay, he had nothing to do with what happened in Enron. However, Sean's bio on the Rice School of Business said he was a former senior vice president and head of Enron International Business and activities in Africa. And the court case was reported by the Cron on the trial that one of Enron's trials was regarding the Nigerian barge deal. And Sean T. Long headed Enron's African Investment Division in 1999 and admitted to engaging in wrongful conduct and assisting in the takeout of Merrill Lynch. So he was actively involved in Enron, actively involved in the deceit that went on. So after I heard that, I just became very concerned about everything that I was hearing from power transitions. So I think the importance of getting a company that's reliable, well, that's trustworthy, and the community can trust is really, really important. And I don't envy you your decision. This is a hard decision, but please at least wait till September.
Thank you very much. Okay. Hi, thank you very much.
Hi, thank you. I'm Carlotta Clark, and I've lived here since 1978, so I didn't do the math, but a long time and always at the end of Charton, so this facility would be very close proximity to my house and Lynn's also. And I just reiterate everything that everyone else has spoken against it and want to be on record that I adamantly oppose and think that it's so preferable to not waste the time in even negotiating or thinking further into this project. There are so many other wonderful options. It is prime real estate, that you are in the position to choose better options for our town and the county, as somebody mentioned. Uh, Thank you, Lynn, for bringing up the Enron affiliation, because that was one of my big red flags in learning about this company. And I've been a part of the community long enough to remember that we've been all anxiously awaiting 2025 when this lease was up so that we could consider new wonderful things. And I've always envisioned some other great things in that space. We already have a overtaxed fire department, the water to the whole county. I just have to reemphasize our health, my garden, my family, and my friends and all of the community. Whether we all agree on the same things or not, I care about everyone's health here, and I think it is way more important than any company, corporation. As much as I know we need the money, there's things that are more important than money in this life. On that, just remembering that LLC stands for Limited Liability Corporation, and so they would not be held accountable, even if they say they would. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please vote no. No, they're all.
Anyone else in the public? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Janice Corcoran. I've been living in Blue Lake for 13 years. I hope to one day say I can live as long as this lady has here. And I'd love it to be in a really pristine, beautiful environment. This is such a gem of a place for the whole United States. And I just am really concerned. People have pointed out that Mr. Goldstein has not been truthful about the problems, potential problems with fire. And everyone points out we're right by the Mad River. Give have the Mad River gives water to thousands of people in Humboldt. Um, I have also talked to people who think we should do it. They want to get rid of that eyesore. This company is going to take care of it, fix it up. But I don't think that this is a way. I agree that maybe that place, that site could be turned into something beautiful. They can also create revenue in other ways and keep nature protected, keep the fish protected. I love to swim in that river. Children swim in that river. Dogs are there, right across the way. Um, I also happen to be at a restaurant where I heard Mr. Goldstein the other day, and he seemed to be saying that all he needs is like one sign off, and then he'll have free reign, and no one could really stop him from doing anything. And so I really urge you to be careful and not start a snowball that you won't be able to stop. Um, I yes. Um, sure. Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, the 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 that you had the permit in your vehicle and you were just waiting for one thing, and once that happened, you would have free reign and no one would stop you. And in Monterey, the soil samples that were taken after the fires that happened there for 5 days burning, they were hundreds to thousands times higher. The heavy metals in the soil were that much heavier. And I just think that because I also didn't know about this until really recently, so I'm pretty shocked by the whole thing. And I just urge everyone to kind of take a step back and just make sure that we're making the right decision on this. And I understand it needs to get cleaned up, things need to happen, but this might not be the way. And if something does go wrong, he's not going to be here. We are going to be here. And that's all I have to say. Also,
Thank you. Sorry.
it's in a flood and tsunami zone. So,
Thank you very much.
bad idea. Yep.
We're kind of nearing. Sorry, I didn't know we were having this many comments. Otherwise, it would have limited us to a 2-minute time. Do we have any more comments? If there's anything, I know I'm just checking out with you guys. Go ahead.
I work for that department. Anyways, Brian Course, resident in Blue Lake, 13 years. I've lived here my whole life. Let's see, my house was built in 1899, so it was built with, untouched redwood from this valley, right? Before we destroyed it. Anyways, so the power plant is ours, right? The interconnect, the power plant, the 20 acres, 22 acres. We own a power plant now, right? That's ours, right? Not yours. So if we sell it, we lose control of who's going to clean it up. And that's like to control, like if my kids grow up and buy my house and they're living here, right? It's future, 100 years from now, 150 years from now. So just think ahead, right? That's all
Thank
I
you.
got.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
My husband that just spoke. I just really feel like it needs to be said that this is a false sense of urgency. And that false sense of urgency that's being created because somebody wants something from us is not our emergency. And it doesn't need to be rushed. And I understand that this has been in the talks for a while, but it hasn't been transparent to the community as a whole. What I mean by that is it's not, I work long hours. I think having a forum that maybe we could create that people are able to have access to the information easier. It's very hard to find information on the city website and as a whole. So that's my recommendation is to just take a step back and take some time to really think about this. I work as a nurse and in scientific community, evidence-based research is really important. And something I have not said, I've heard statements claiming that it's safer, and safer does not equal zero risk. And I would like to, I've been looking in databases, I have access to research on universities as part of graduate programs. And I have had a really difficult time finding evidence-based research that proves that this is safe. And that is my line of work so that our community is safe. That's what I rely on before I treat our public. I use evidence-based to treat all of you that you come into the ICU. Okay, it's very important to me. And I feel very passionate about this, that we look at this. You should be proving to us with research that this is safe, not just a statement when this is new technology and a new company. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. If there's no additional comments that, not that anything means less than anything else, go ahead, Alex.
I am very conflicted. I agree with everything that was said. Everything, both sides. Both sides, okay? It's where the point of view people see risks, where the people don't see any risks. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about the lake. But we do have a huge problem out there. If kids will get in there through any of the breaches in that fence, and one of them falls down one of those things, we're done as a city. Forget it. What is it? What is it? Our insurance pool.
Zero.
1.5 million or something? Liability on that? That's what we're facing. That's immediate. Those kids go where kids want to go when mom and dad ain't around. We all know that. So that's our problem. Now, that's what got me first sympathetic to Mr. Goldstein there. Okay, yeah, he wanted to clear that place up because it's a real risk to us. Okay, I understand the fears of the batteries. I'm not denying that. I don't want to argue that. But what I want to say to us, particularly the property owners in this room, are you willing to have another $100, $200 assessment earmarked on your property to go to clean that thing up? We can do that. The state of California will allow us to do that. But will you do that? Will you put your money where your mouth is to clear that place up and make it safe for all our citizens without outside help? Because you look to yourself. I was raised. You got a big problem, look to yourself to fix it. Don't be asking somebody else. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But unless you have a solution to that problem out there, okay, you have to give Mr. Goldstein some credit for stepping forward saying, I will do that. I don't.
Cares? Because he cares about us? Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I do
Hey,
not.
hey,
I
guys,
do
let's
not
keep it
judge.
inside. Hey,
I do not judge.
point of order. Bring it back.
I do not judge. I do not judge anybody's motivation.
You're a liar.
Hey, whoa. Let's bring it back to comment. Hey, no, none of that. Come on. Alex, are you done? Point of order, please. Thank you, Alex. Yes, go ahead. Can we?
You can.
One thing I would like to ask the city and is that I ride my bike on that levee and I can't ride it anymore knowing those fences are open. A child could easily go down that and when there's no water in there and get in there. You guys, please repair that immediately. Yeah, the fencing that's around that. It's on the levee side. There's a big old gaping hole in it. And not only that, animals can get in there. You guys know this risk and you don't do that. It should, I mean, when I heard that, that just upset me. I mean, kids are down there walking that levee, dogs, people. There are a lot of people down there all the time on it. So please, take action on that because I just didn't realize that was so that I have never heard what I've heard here. And I went all through Blue Lake School. I've been here a long time. So I think some good can come of this. We can repair the fence.
Thank you very much. Do you have are you commenting, Angela?
Just real quick.
Okay.
I was really unaware, kind of like you guys were, that this was going to be happening. I have been coming to meetings for, I don't know, 2.5 years and never heard about this until maybe 2 months ago. So it does feel very pressured. I don't ever make a decision when I'm under pressure. You can't think clearly. Something that I noticed at the meeting on Sunday was the verbiage being used. And it's very inconsiderate to say that 2 acres is a postage stamp. You continue to misrepresent the space that this is going to take up. I also want to say that the noise that will be coming from this, there was a video posted. It is incredibly noisy. I walk down there. I own 2 properties in Blue Lake. I don't want to hear that coming across our valley. I don't. I appreciate that the new council has been taking their time because I was at the last meeting where they were asked to make this decision, and there was so much pressure from Mandy and from the attorney, and from Chris Fire, actually. He just wanted to rubber stamp it. And I really appreciate the council listening to everyone, considering everything, and absolutely doing their own research. The reason that we elected this new council was because the old one did not hear us. They were not listening. And so I hope when you guys consider all of our statements from Saturday, the petition that we got together and signed, going door to door. Blue Lake is very passionate that this does not happen in this way. Of course, I want to see that cleaned up. I think we need to repair the fence. Why haven't we repaired the fence?
Angela, your
Why are
time's up.
people able to get in there?
Go ahead and wrap up. Sorry, your time's up.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
And the 60-foot poles. I don't want to see
Was I off?
60-foot poles down by the river.